Hi, everybody. It's been a little while. My apologies for not uploading anything. There's been lots that's been happening in the last little while, and I thought I would just give you all a little bit of an update on what's going on in my life and in this whole business process, and whether or not I will have some kernels of wisdom I've gained over time, which there has been a few. So, and some of my thoughts around that. Firstly, I want to preface this by saying, and for those of you who don't know, I'm Wilma Vandenboen. I own Freya's Daughter, and I have created 2 tarot decks just recently. And so I am attempting as best as possible to carve a foray into this whole tarot community and world for me, and hopefully be successful in some way. I have a background in music and the arts, and also was working as a registered nurse. And one of the reasons I decided to do this work now was because I kind of hit the wall. I mean, I've struggled my entire life with mental health challenges. I have borderline personality disorder, which was formally diagnosed a couple of years ago. And I went into a kind of a deep depression about 2 years ago, in which I came to the realization that I didn't really want to do the work of nursing anymore. I'm a mother of 3 children. I love my kids, but 2 of my children have special needs. The one has autism and the other one has ADHD. And so that has been a challenge in and of itself. And I'm also a single parent as well. Not to mention my oldest son, along with his autism just recently, he's turning 16 soon, has himself struggled with depression. And so there's been a lot of that element of mental wellness and dealing with mental wellness in my household for a while. And so that theme was really relevant and present and kind of the impetus in a large degree for why I began my journey, and also the creative process of creating particularly the first deck, which was a Blood, Bread, and Roses tarot. So that deck itself covers a couple of themes for me that are very important and significant in my life, one of which is the mental wellness piece. 2 is the social justice piece, because for me those are kind of intimately connected. And 3, feminism, which is a huge portion of my politics, along with social justice and mental wellness. And of course, the last piece for me, which is my spirituality. So I identify as a witch, and consequently, why I called my business Freya's Daughter, because my matron goddess is the goddess Freya, and she has been very relevant and significant, and in a lot of my life and a lot of the paths that I have taken in my life. So that's just an overview. And I guess what I wanted to talk about a little bit in terms of this venture and foray into the business end of things. First of all, I'm kind of actively trying to do a lot of the promotion piece right now. So that has been a slow build and journey and struggle. Trying to build up my Instagram account, trying to do all the various pieces with respect to promoting my readings, doing readings at festivals and events, which I really love and enjoy. I did 2 arts and crafts events this weekend. I like that piece because I am by nature a really social animal, and I love being in public, and I love meeting new people. And so I realize that for some people that's not really their thing, but for me that is. And the other piece is doing parties and stuff. So I have some parties coming up now with December coming up. So I'm very excited about that. I haven't done any of that yet. So that has been kind of, again, a slow build, putting myself into Gig Salad and I live in Toronto, Canada. So there's a website here, the eventsource.ca website, that I put my information up on that and have gained, lots of leads and interest in that. So I'm very excited about that piece. So I enjoy that going into public piece. And I've been doing readings on a weekly basis at a great store not far from where I live. And so I want to build on more of that. So there's a lot of this stuff. I feel like things are slowly building for me. And that is very positive. And I'm feeling happy about that. The marketing piece has been a real learning journey. So I've attempted to do marketing around Facebook, Instagram marketing, various degrees of success. I can't say. Promoting on Etsy has seeming to be the most benefit because, of course, I do have my store on Etsy as well as my website, freyasdaughter.com. So it's been a real learning piece around that. I realized that Facebook and Etsy, if you don't actually pay to do the marketing piece, doesn't work if you don't have followers. So you have to build followers. So I've been doing tons of YouTube research around how to go about that. Now I'm almost at the 1,000 mark on my Instagram. So I'm very, very excited when that happens. I've had I sent out some decks for review, and I got a review back already from Indie Tarot Review, which was great. Very grateful for that. I have sent some decks out to some of the tarot community personalities, and am doing more of that. In fact, this morning I've been drafting some letters to send those decks out. So I'm very excited. I'm so grateful for any of you who are thinking of doing this yourself. I highly recommend that you join the Tarot Deck Creators on Facebook. If it wasn't for that group, I think I would be just completely lost. The men and women on that group are so amazing and wonderful and insightful and knowledgeable and wise and helpful. And, I kind of, being someone who with borderline personality disorder, as well as, Canadian with this sort of terminal politeness that we have, find it hard sometimes to ask for help, and oftentimes get this feeling, that, well, this is the borderline piece, that worry that, I might be rejected in some way. And I found the people on that group are really, just so forthcoming with, a multitude of great support, help, and knowledge. So when I've had issues and questions and have hit sort of a wall in terms of what to do next, I've found, being able to ask them questions has been invaluable, and they've always invariably had, amazing insight and answers, and, giving me, sort of a new direction to follow. So, and they've also been just really kind in terms of their support and around that, because one of the things that I struggle with a little bit is, feeling, inwardly legitimate. So the fact that, I have come to this, even though I've been, reading tarot since the age of 20, I'm now 50, have been, have studied, read sort of a million books on it, have, put all the work and the creative effort into creating the deck, have learned so much. There's this sense of, well, wanting, acceptance. I think we all want acceptance in this world and in this piece. And I've, seen a lot of the amazing YouTube videos that some of the YouTube people, particularly as it relates to the business, have put out. I think Ethany is one, and Teresa Reed is another one. They've just have some amazing information, and there's a whole slew of people who've put out just stunning amounts of information on YouTube that has been just incredibly helpful as well with respect to that. And so I am so grateful for all these people who are, providing, free advice out there without, charging an arm and a leg for the information for those of us who are struggling and don't have, limitless amounts of cash in order to do that. But it's a business in the end, right? So it's about kind of putting the money out for advertising and marketing, as well as, spending the cash. So I've made a lot of mistakes. Oh God, I can't even begin to list them. They've been a multitude, but I've been learning from those mistakes, which is great. And I guess part of what I wanted to talk about today is some of my insights, how I'm beginning to see myself and what my particular contribution to this whole community and world may be, and where I see things going for me. So, one, I have infinite hope that this will be successful, bearing in mind that I am cognizant of my struggles and limitations that do make things a little bit more challenging for me, perhaps in some ways, than for other people. And that, of course, being the mental health piece that I'm still dealing with. I see a therapist on a weekly basis and have done for the last several years. And so I am, growing in that realm along with growing in this whole business and spiritual community realm. And so when I see a lot of these, great, amazing videos around the business piece, I'm always cognizant that I have to take into consideration that, when they're offering this advice, they're offering it from the point of view of being quote unquote normal and mentally well person who is, capable of doing that. So I have to, sort of give myself a little bit of a break when I review these to sort of say, okay, bear in mind that I need to allow for the fact that there's a bit of a struggle for me in some respects. So it may take me a little bit longer to gain the sense of self, or to get myself to sort of do the recommendations that they kind of offer. And that's okay. So, I will get there, I hope. Maybe not, but I will get there eventually. But it's going to have to be in my timeline, because I have these other things I have to deal with, not least of which is raising 3 kids and the responsibilities around that and so forth. So if I can offer any sort of advice to anyone else in a similar situation, is to be kind to yourself and not to be too hard on yourself when, things aren't happening immediately, or all of the advice that's offered is something that you can't get to right away, or maybe at all. So you have to take what you can do and be grateful for that. So I've been trying to do that as well. So one of the struggles I find with having the challenges that I do have is just the Sorry about that. It wants to go into, it wants to go into, pausing. So technology is a bit of my nemesis sometimes. So that's the big thing. But at the same time as I recognize this as being, a bit of a challenge and a struggle for me, I also see it. I've come to see it, I guess, I should say, in the last couple of months as also a benefit in a sense. It's kind of what gives me sort of that element of uniqueness. So this sort of, interestingly enough, kind of hit me in the last week where I was feeling a little bit down on myself. I had seen one of these workshops and I was thinking, how do they do it? Like, how do they have their, how are they so disciplined? How do they have their shit together when I'm sitting here right now with 4 baskets of unfolded laundry on my couch right now that have been sitting there for, no word of a lie, a week and a half, because I can't do it all. And despite, screaming at my kids to say, fold the laundry, it's still there because they're teenagers and they don't care and they don't do it. And so there it is. And so be it. It'll get done eventually. Just probably not today. When I see these people who seem to have their shit together and they've managed to do everything they can, and I think it can sometimes be really demoralizing for me, and so I sort of have to not allow myself to go there and say I can only do what I can do, because I have to manage my nervous system on a daily basis in a way that perhaps other people don't. So that means managing my paranoia. And I have paranoia every day. Managing my abandonment issues. These are all the borderline stuff and the mental health stuff that comes out for me. Meanwhile, trying to, do all this. So manage all these, the self-doubt, all that kind of stuff. But so back to the piece. So last week I realized that this doesn't necessarily have to be a detriment. This actually can be a strength for me because I've been there. I understand it. I get it. So when I am reading tarot for people, and this sort of came out, I realized that my readings I'm not really interested in the whole kind of or rather I should say what I am interested in is the mental wellness piece that comes out in the reading. And that is where I think my strengths are, because to me, that is what's paramount important for people. It's sort of, how does this make them feel? How do I offer, support and advice? Or how does the cards or the, spirit or the messages from spirit that come through the readings offer support and advice for that person in the situation? So it's not about figuring out what the ex-boyfriend said or, whatever, because that's really irrelevant and ultimately offers no control. But how can these messages offer help and support for this person to get through this challenge and this difficult time? Because I've been there. I've done the work. I have been in, struggles in, with mental health and, and in therapy, literally, since I was about 13 years old. So, and I'm 50 now. So I'm a registered nurse. So I have a background that's very, very strong in medicine and in understanding neuroscience and understanding psychology. All of this work that I have done just personally In terms of my gaining my knowledge. My ex-husband is a professor at a medical school and and he teaches neuroscience and neuroanatomy. So I have benefited from my, time with him and so forth, gaining infinite knowledge around neuroanatomy and neuroscience, and particularly as it relates to a lot of mental health, because he worked for he was a research scientist at a mental health hospital here in Toronto. So, and then of course, my own, struggles around depression, personality disorders, my son, and the sort of developmental issues and the struggles that come with that with respect to autism and ADHD, the gender differences from a neuroscience perspective, and the whole gamut of sort of, wellness, physical wellness and mental wellness that I've gained from my, not only my studies, but also my work in community. I was a community nurse. So I was, very, very part of that whole piece with respect to finding resources and support and help for a lot of my patients. So I'm fortunate that I have, the benefit of all this, learning, knowledge, and experience along. So I bring all that to my practice of tarot, and all that piece was all part of my creative process in creating this deck. So I don't know why it didn't strike me ahead of time that this could be a strength and a wellness, but benefit, I should say. But I guess things unfold as they should, right? And so I have decided that that's what I want my practice to be. I don't want it to just be another person who does a romance reading or a career reading or a whatever. No, I don't want that. I want the hard stuff. Bring me the readings for the people who are having challenges, who are struggling, who are in emotional distress, who need sort of guidance in that way, who, even the physical, the medical piece, so that insight. I want to do that work. And I realize that, the sort of the ethical, pieces around, sort of not, referring people on, which I am great at, because that was all the work I did as a community health nurse. Is, I was the point person for, finding resources, and sort of directing people to, where's that next piece, that next step to sort of move them along their journey of wellness. So, hey, I am, perfect for that. So that was very exciting for me. And was to realize that I could take all of that. I could take that nursing piece that I was ready to throw out baby with the bathwater, but transplant that as to tarot and use tarot as kind of a tool and a conduit for the mental wellness and for the pivot point and opportunity as a resource for for offering people, a means to on their journey to wellness. So that's been a huge piece. So I've kind of decided to sort of make that a little bit my focus in that. Having said that, I'm still dealing with my own, issues and challenges and struggles in this whole world, and particularly in this whole business venture aspect, and trying as much as possible to sort of manage everything as best I can, and not to allow myself to doubt myself or to go to those places that, will not be beneficial and helpful. It's not always going to be the case because, it is there and it comes up, and there is a, that sort of core wound of mine that it's this being lifelong process of healing is still, in that stage of healing. So, and I will continue on that journey as I continue on this journey of building the business. So, what are my struggles now? Where am I at with respect to the business? Well, it's sort of gaining, kind of building myself up for some confidence to kind of, ask for the help and support, and in that respect, so connecting hopefully with other YouTube personalities and people who are willing to do reviews. So asking for me is hard. It's very difficult. But I'm doing it. The second piece is, doing the daily work of building my Instagram. The third piece for me is I'm trying to crack the online tarot reading piece. That has been a huge struggle. Whereas I love doing events, I love doing reading in public, I really struggle doing online readings. I have signed up for things, I have done some, I've had some good success, some not great experiences. And one, I'm not willing to bullshit. I'm not willing to lie or any of that kind of stuff. It has to be authentic for me. That is huge, huge piece for me. Truth and authenticity is number one for me. So if I'm not feeling it, I can't do anything but be honest about that and say, I'm sorry, I can't help you, or I'm not going to say something that I don't authentically connect with in any way, shape, or form. So I'm continuing to want to, strive to do that, because I realize it's a kind of immediate, means of financial, gaining money and support in this, and I think an important piece to this. Obviously, trying to get clients is being a huge issue. It's easy when I go out, because I just put my sign out and I just find I just naturally get people, or at events people come up and it seems to work. But the online bit, I still have some learning to go with that. As far as the promotion piece for the decks online, I'm still trying to crack Instagram and Facebook. I'm still in that learning curve element, and will continue to do so. I'm hoping that, getting some reviews and sort of recognition out there will sort of help a little bit in that piece. But yeah, I think I'm on an upward trajectory overall in everything. So this is getting long, so I better wrap this up. So this is kind of where I'm at with everything, and I thought I would just touch base and let everyone know how things are going with my business venture. And that's it. So anyways, I will touch base again soon in the future. I won't leave it so long this time, and let you know how things are progressing at that point. Take care. Ciao.